Normally I work from a podium and I talk for about 40 minutes. But Bob asked me to work without a podium and talk for only about 10 minutes, so relax. But I do want to say I have note cards just to keep myself on the 8 to 10 minute track, and also because I have a few points I want to make and I don't want to forget. First, I want to say I'm really honored to be here this evening to celebrate with you. And I do want to recognize that my wife Mary came with me. Mary has been at so many of these kinds of events. She had her own professional life, but she spent many hours with me. So please give a hand to Mary. Here we are with a book called Philanthropy Misunderstood, and I put a question mark at the end of that. Bob really understood what philanthropy was. And I've known Bob since Bob and Alphonse through AFP, Scott Stout, who's in the book, Doug Lawson I met through AFP. It's just been terrific. So I first want to say congratulations to Bob, not only for the book, your first book, but also to everything that you've done. Who knew? We didn't know at the national level that Bob was teaching children about philanthropy here, but Kellogg Foundation is trying to do it in Michigan through the community foundation, so here was Bob doing it in Texas. So Bob, congratulations. Congratulations to all of you who are in the book or who wrote something for the book. I spent my whole life trying to understand philanthropy, understand what it is, what makes it work, how people feel about it, all those kinds of things. And then I read this book, and first I want to say I run into a guy named Eamon Cragen. Eamon Cragen is somebody I know. It's like, it's about seven degrees of separation. Here was Eamon Cragen in the story about Ireland and the Ireland Fund. But I want to talk about what does philanthropy do in society? Well, it reduces human suffering. It helps people become whole. It enhances human potential. It helps people find a way to be who they can become. It's about building community. Think about all of us gathering here. Bob gathered us all here tonight. We're a kind of community. We believe we've met people we've not met before. It's about human fulfillment. There are many stories in here about human fulfillment. It's about equity and justice, helping make society a more equitable place. It's about the civility that Scott talked about. It's about experimentation and change. Think of the stories in this book and how they're experimenting, bringing change. It's about pluralism, letting 1,000 flowers bloom. All the stories in this book, they're all different. It's about protecting the minority from the tyranny of the majority. It's about the First Amendment, the ability to express ourselves, to change society, to remake society as we would like to see it remade. And I like the story about Bob going down to Monterey Tech. I've been at Monterey Tech too, but I've never been in the community. Bob's in the community. And Alondra says they had been doing philanthropy all along. They just didn't know it. So how do we define philanthropy? At the Lilly Family School of Philanthropy, we defined it as voluntary action for the public good. So Scott Marcy said, it's about the philanthropists are doers, they're givers, developers, creators, they're donators, helpers, supporters, builders, difference makers. They're people who are recreating or redirecting equilibrium, as Michael Graves said. It's about giving of your time, which many people in this book do. It's about giving of your talent. It's the special things that you can do. And it's about giving of money. And most of the time, we just think about the people who are making big gifts, and we define that as philanthropy. But it's not just those people who are giving big gifts. The word generosity came up here just a moment ago. Generosity is a measure of spirit. It's a measure of how much we give relative to our ability to give. It's how much time we can give when we are pressed on the other side by our family, by an ailing mother, by other demands on our time. It's about talents, about giving of special talents. If you've read any of these stories, think of the origami. The people who are making origami in order to sell it and do good work with that. It's about giving money. When I went to the counter out here in the Biblical Museum, the first coin I saw was the coin of the widow's mite. So anything that you can give, what you can give relative to what you have to give. And there are stories in here, Bob's own story about his family and how the family gave out of what little they had. That's what generosity is. And that's how we understand philanthropy. Find the stories and good deeds in this book. Philanthropy is a global phenomenon. It's present in every culture around the globe in some way or another. And it's very old. In fact, one of the oldest forms of philanthropy was hospitality. Taking in the stranger, feeding the stranger, putting the stranger under your roof. Philanthropy is present in almost every religion that I know about. So here we are in the Biblical Museum, and the coin of the widow's mite is right out front. Almost every religion that I know teaches us to care for one another and teaches us that one of the ways we earn good works, we earn merits, is by helping someone else. Those who volunteer also give. They're more likely to give. In fact, they're about twice as likely to give as those who don't volunteer. And they're likely to give about twice as much as those who volunteer. Those who volunteer and give are a credible part of our democracy. About twice as many people volunteer and give each year as vote. About twice as many people give and volunteer as vote. It's not good for our country, it's not good for our democracy, but that's where the power of our democracy lies. It lies in those who give and volunteer. Just a word about the impact of giving and volunteering on the donor and the volunteer. Hank Rosso said that fundraising is the gentle art of teaching people the joy of giving. Doug Lawson says we should give to live. That if we give, we find a way to live a fuller life. And Sarah Conrad, one of our faculty members, who came from the University of Michigan, an experimental psychologist who works on the impact of giving and volunteering on donors and volunteers, and a whole cadre of people now in neuropsychology and the neurosciences working on this. They found that it looks like that giving and volunteering brings health benefits back to those who give and volunteer. And these aren't just like some people out here wanting to talk about it like Bob and me, but these are serious scientists who now are documenting the fact that giving and volunteering has a positive impact on those who give and volunteer. So it looks like we're hardwired to do what all of you are doing in this book, to do the kinds of things that Bob has understood now as philanthropy, and then written a book about it called Philanthropy Misunderstood, which might be titled Philanthropy Understood. Remember that to understand philanthropy, we must understand this concept of generosity. It's not how much time you give, but it's how much your commitment of time reflects your involvement in that project. It's not how much talent you give, but it's how much that talent reflects your commitment. It's not how much time you give, how much money you give, but how the time and money reflects your commitment. And that's how we understand philanthropy.